First-time car buyers have the best of times and the worst of times when they're selecting their first car. 90% of first-time car buyers are like me on a really tight budget, so they've got a choice. Do they have to buy a good-looking, good-performing second-hand car but without a warranty? Or a brand new car that's bare bones and sometimes even lacks safety features? But Volkswagen Philippines has the answer to that. What's going on, guys? Roy Robles here for ZigWheels.PH. So we're going to answer a question today. Should you go ahead and settle for a basic brand new car or an old second-hand one? What we got here today is something special. It's the Volkswagen Santana with a manual transmission. So let's go ahead and check it out. Now, a couple of months ago, we reviewed the top-of-the-line Santana sedan. It was color white, and it featured a lot of nice things in it, especially alloy wheels. But this right here is the most Volkswagen of all the Santanas, Volkswagen meaning the people's car. As you can see right here, it features the same horizontal lines and vertical lines that we can see in previous Santanas, especially the top of the line and the GTS model. You've got these chrome grille right here. You got this squarish headlamps, which is definitely halogen right there. Nothing too dramatic. It doesn't even have fog lamps. I really love the long hood, which is further accentuated by these vertical lines out there. You don't see too much drama in design. The beauty with Volkswagen designs here is that 5, maybe 10 years down the line, these models will definitely stand the test of time because of its simple look. I like how the windshield rakes forward right there. And again, no dramas, just pure performance. And I really like that about Volkswagen cars, especially in the Santana. Now, heading to the side profile of the Volkswagen Santana, if you ask a kid to draw a car, this is probably what it's going to look like. It's a 3-box design right here with a short trunk and a long hood. That's what she said. Just kidding. This time around, instead of having alloy wheels, you got Steelies, which are 175/70 R14 tires. It's more tuned for comfort and fuel economy than anything else. And I wish it had bigger wheels. I wish it had, even if it were Steelies, I wish it had 15 inches so I can put in 195/50 R15 tires. Now, usually in 90s cars, you'd have these 90s pull-up door handles, but with the Volkswagen Santana, you got these grab handles right there, so it's definitely more into the 2000s to 2010s instead of the 90s. You even have turn repeater signals in the side mirrors. You got this nice looking greenhouse here, which doesn't look too high. Again, there's not much drama right here in the side profile. In fact, these doors open up real nice and wide like this, so entering the car is easy. But we'll talk about the interior later on. Let's check out the back, shall we? Now, on the highway, well, not a lot of people will be seeing this part of your car because, let's be honest, you won't be overtaking a lot of cars on the road. But trust me, looking at this right here gives it a more classic, this more elegant look than most subcompact sedans or even hatchbacks out there, and I really like it. There's this subtle hint of a ducktail spoiler right here on the trunk, but yeah, don't give it any fast or racy aspirations. It's just there for the look. You got this large Volkswagen badge right here, and the tail lamps. The tail lamp cluster is very Euro in its application. It's an all red implementation right there. It's the Santana badge, of course. That's not going anywhere. Right below, again, there's no dramas. You won't find any diffusers. You won't find any mufflers or any exhaust ports right there. But one thing about this budget car is that it does have a backup camera. What other budget car at this price point has a backup camera? Probably smaller cars, but on this one, it's got it right there. Plus, on the key fob, if you need to have this opened up, just hold that middle button key, and right there, you have access to this huge space here. As you can see, you don't have any 60/40 split for functionality, but you got access to this large space inside, which I think is a real win, especially for those first-time car buyers and with a small budget. All right, so now we're inside the Volkswagen Santana, the manual version, the entry-level one, the one you want to buy. Inside, you definitely won't find anything soft touch here. The dashboard, the side door panels, even the armrest right here. Nope, the steering wheel. There's nothing here. Probably the softest thing right here is the shifter boot. That's right there, but apart from that, nothing. The seats are nice and comfortable though, and they're well bolstered. So even though you're trying to drive aggressively, emphasis on trying to drive aggressively on this one, you're gonna stay put. You're gonna stay in one place. Now let's talk about this design-wise. Now this is classic Volkswagen. Straight lines everywhere, boxy. Now everything is well sculpted. This definitely feels and looks more expensive than it's supposed to be. And of course, it's a Volkswagen. So even the most entry-level Volkswagens, you'd find quality craftsmanship right there. Nothing's out of place, nothing's creaking, nothing's bad. Even the steering wheel, it's adjustable for height, thankfully. A lot of cars in this price range actually don't have that ability, but you got it right there. The steering wheel is nice, there's no buttons there. It's nicely weighted. And that's the thing, even if this is an entry-level car, the steering is definitely good. We'll be checking that out later on in the drive impressions. You also have a touchscreen infotainment system here. It's a punk powered system that powers 2 speakers right here up front. This is an optional unit, so if you want to get this particular one, you have to speak to your agent, speak to your sales manager if you can get this one. But even if you don't get this, you're not missing out on a lot, because this thing does not have Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. It only has this rudimentary phone mirroring system, and if you ask me, this probably should be stuck in the mid-2000s. But hey, it's right there. You got a CD player if you got CDs. I haven't found any CDs around the house lately for me to demonstrate that, but no, you won't find it anywhere. You also have this manual AC control, and my favorite feature, this manual sliding air vent. You know, something's actually happening. As you can hear that thump, you can actually hear a flap closing instead of a button which tells you that, hey, I'm closed, but this time here, you know that it's definitely closed. You don't get a center armrest though, which is a bummer, but that's okay. It's definitely one thing that I definitely would miss in this car. And yeah, probably in city driving, you won't be looking for it too much, but during long drives, if you just want to relax, if you want to relax your body, that's important, so you won't feel any fatigue or stress while driving. You need that center armrest, but it's not there. Right, you got your visors right here. Unfortunately, those visors do not have vanity mirrors at all. So basically, it's a basic car, and they do basic right, and that's what I love about Volkswagen. Let's check out the rear amenities and see how it goes. All right, so teleporting to the back seats right here, and I can find that it's a pretty good place to be in, but a couple of things. This thing has a huge center tunnel right here, which, this is a front wheel drive, makes me doubt what this is for actually. But if you want to sit people right here, I mean, you can. It's got 3 headrests, but fitting a middle person right here might be quite a challenge. Also, since this has that Blapunk system, it also has that huge subwoofer underneath the driver's seat, which sacrifices a lot of feet room for me. I mean, I'm sitting behind my natural driving position, and I still have a lot of leg space, some knee room, headroom, but that subwoofer definitely gets in the way. There's a lot of black plastic right here. There's no center armrest for cup holders. In fact, there are no toys whatsoever, no USB ports, no aircon vents, not even cup or bottle holders right here in the door panels, except for, of course, that bottle or cup holder right there in the middle. Now, if you want to adjust or recline these seats, you won't be able to do so because these are fixed. But at least they're nice and comfortable. The material is soft and supportive, and these bench seats are actually molded quite nicely, so molds quite nicely to my behind as well. So even if I've got a fat behind, I can fit quite nicely. Headroom is great. Everything's good. While I see myself driving for long extended periods of time, I probably would prefer to be in the front seat driving this thing. Speaking of driving, let's take this for a spin. All right, so we're behind the wheel of the Volkswagen Santana with a 5-speed manual transmission. This is the entry-level variant of that particular model, and I gotta say, one of the first impressions that I've gotten out of this car is that it's unlike any other car in this price range. First of all, since it's a Volkswagen, you can expect a certain level of engineering and precision manufacturing in this car. You can barely feel any of the ruts or hear anything from the outside world while you're driving this car. You won't feel any of the bumps or hear any rattles. The plastic panels are definitely in their place. So it's definitely one of the better built cars in this price range. Under the hood, you've got a 1.4 liter naturally aspirated engine that makes about 90 horsepower and 132 newton meters of torque. You're thinking that that's not enough power? Well, maybe to outrun a sports car, that's not enough power. But if you're driving through the city or cruising down the highway, that should be well enough. Right, so suspension-wise, you got McPherson struts up front and a semi-independent suspension in the rear. Now, it's still a torsion bar rear suspension, but it's got multi-links in it to make it a little bit more flexible whenever you're driving. And you can definitely feel it inside. The way it steers, it's definitely not too heavy or not too light, which is how I exactly like it. All right, so we've counted a little bit more traffic here, so I think it's a great segue for us to talk about traffic. Now, with the Volkswagen Santana, I was able to get 8 to 9 kilometers per liter in the city, and once you open up in the highway, it gets about 14 kilometers per liter, and that's not bad. I mean, these kinds of cars usually have a certain penalty to them, especially these subcompact sedans, especially when compared to their mini hatchback rivals. But the thing about these subcompact sedans is that at least you got some extra space inside, as well as a trunk to put all your stuff in. It's got a tight turning radius here, typical of any city car. And the best part about this is that manual transmission. If you're wondering how to get to reverse in this car, it's not your usual dogleg European ring that you need to pull up. You actually have to push the shifter down and then set it to R. I gotta talk about that shifter. The clutch is definitely light for those people who are afraid of learning manual transmission. This is definitely a very forgiving car. The bite point of the clutch is way up, so it gives you more room for you to modulate it, and it isn't as direct or as precise as maybe other sports cars. But in this case here, if you're just learning to learn manual transmission, the Volkswagen Santana's got your back. Safety features include dual airbags, ABS with electronic brake force distribution. You've got your seat belts, of course, ISOFIX anchors. But what is a surprise when it comes to safety is that this might not have backup sensors or any sensors at all, but it's got a rear camera. Visibility here is actually quite great, which is typical of any Volkswagen. But with the help of a rear backup camera, it makes parking that much easier. Pricing for the Volkswagen Santana, the 5-speed manual transmission one, it starts around 686,000 pesos. But these days, Volkswagen's got a lot of promos. So head on over to ZigWheels Philippines website and make sure that you search for the Volkswagen Santana and get yours now. You may never know, you can get a pretty significant discount. So there you have it. It's the Volkswagen Santana with a manual transmission. So there are a couple things I like and I don't like about it. So 3 things. First, the negatives. Let's start with the styling. I personally love the styling of the Volkswagen Santana, but I know a lot of people will probably prefer a more futuristic, more angular looking kind of car. Second, those wheels. 14 inches are definitely don't cut it these days. Although they add more to the fuel economy savings, the look definitely doesn't match the entire appeal of the car. Third, I don't like that sound system. The sound system is a blow-punk system, but you can definitely see its age, and it only has 2 speakers. But if you want more speakers, you can always go for the mid-grade variant. Now to the positives. I really love the engine mated to that manual transmission. I feel that 90 horsepower is just enough and just right, and mated with a 6-speed automatic, forget it. I love that car, especially when it comes to acceleration. The braking of this car is insane. I mean, it's just a small car, I know, so it's not gonna be that hard to stop it, but it's definitely one of the more modulated ones, and I love the responsiveness of the acceleration and the braking. Third, of course, it's fuel economy. 9 kilometers per liter in the city, 14 on the highway. You can't look for anything better than that, especially in this price range and this size of a car. But what do you think? Leave us a comment in the comment section down below if the Volkswagen Santana with the manual transmission is a worthy first car for you. But while you're at it, subscribe to our channel, leave us a like, and hit that notification icon so you won't miss any of our videos. Now that's another honest review in the books. This is Roy Morales with ZigWheels.PH, and I'll see you guys next time.